Hello, my name is Nonova. This is my profile. I was wanting to do a map review, and a replay analysis of this map right here. It's called Truth Is. It's a part of this tournament that I'm doing of Amarriner Cup. I wanted to start with Incuggarch's match against Lawrence. It's a mixed space map. I do like mixed space. It's a little problematic because in 3-base mixed map, each player has 3 bases. It's going to just be how one person's going to have an extra infantry, and that tends to lead to a really big advantage. Sometimes you can compensate that advantage to the other player, but it's just kind of tricky. It's also been said about this base that it's not a real mixed base map, and that the fronts tend to be in a very specific area. A lot of fighting comes down to these 2 ports right here. They're both within striking range of tanks from each of the bases. So once they do flip, it's really hard to take them back. The other cities, right, like here, can be kind of contested. I mean, not really. This city tends to go to player 2 over here, and the city tends to go to player 1 right here. But they're both within 2 turns of tanks from these bases. They're a little bit more closer for the infantry for each bases, so that's why they don't tend to flip. The other cities that do sometimes tend to be contested are these 2 right here. I think that's just because in this map you tend to send a lot of infantry from your strong side down here to capture early on, and then when they finish up all these captures right here, they tend to go just funnel here, because that's like the only next thing to contest. And with all those infantry just overloading this city, it's really hard to hold it. So player 2 will probably be able to get this city early, and then player 1 will be able to get it later on. But that's not always how it works. It's kind of a fake mixed base in that the fronts tend to be pretty much in the same area. The fronts tend to be across here, as the 2 base strong side will attempt to, in the long run, overrun this 1 base. But it can be kind of tricky because you can reinforce from this airport and kind of help save this 1 base right here. And you will have a lot of, so let's say if we're playing as like player 2 right here, they will have a lot of infantry invested in this area. So it'll take a little while for them to get down here and contest or try to beat down this city right here. Anyway, let's get back into the match. So Lawrence has 9,000 bank. You could buy a tank and 2 infantry. That'd be pretty standard. But if he does that, then he'd have 0 money left for the next round, and he'd end that next round. He'll start that next round with next turn with 7,000. And you can't really buy a vehicle like an artillery or a tank and then 2 infantry. You'd have to base skip, so that's not very ideal. So he buys an artillery this turn, so he can buy an artillery the next turn. Oh yes, and this is kind of important. their capture order is a little different in that Incuggarch moves his infantry right here. So he would like to use this infantry for this double capture, this chain. And typically you might want this infantry here to capture the city, but instead he opts to go here and he wants to deny this port for Lawrence because that's where he's going to grab his property. But Lawrence does not do that. He moves his infantry right here, and I think that's pretty impactful in this map. They're going to do a lot of fighting over this one port, especially Incuggarch. He really wants to challenge this. So he delays it. They both start moving their infantry to the center to start contesting the properties there. And Incuggarch can build a tank. And this is the other thing that's not perfect about this map, is that Incuggarch has money to build his tank first, and then the next turn he has money to buy artillery. So Lawrence is kind of pressured to buy artillery 2 turns in a row. He could do other things, I think. But if he really wants to get extra vehicles out, I could understand why he'd want to do this. But Incuggarch is not under that limit. He can buy a tank and then next turn have an artillery. So tank and artillery versus an artillery and another artillery. It's a little bit more flexible for Incuggarch. So Lawrence goes for the city. He doesn't rely on an extra infantry to try to deny this cap. He attacks back instead of trying to capture this. Okay. Well, even if he has this artillery here, it's pretty hard for him to capture this, and it'll be difficult for him in the long run, I think, to get it back. Of course, I already know some of the spoilers, so it's a little bit unfair. Okay, he builds an artillery. Moves his tank up here. It's tricky. I'm not sure what the plan is for this artillery up here. I'm not sure exactly where he wants to go with it. I think maybe an artillery up here would be useful in the long run to try to get this city back. I mean, Incuggarch could answer with an artillery of his own, but I'm not sure what he's going to do with this one. I think it's a little questionable. Alright, so Incuggarch basically sacrifices this infantry. And he manages to get a free hit. And it looks like he wants to lock down this port so that Lawrence will not be able to get it ever. Alright. Yeah, this artillery just kind of had to move back. It's pretty unfortunate. And Incuggarch will lose this infantry, but I think it'll be a sacrifice that he thinks will probably be worth it to deny that port for the long time. And this tank is just kind of roaming around. There's nothing Lawrence can really do about it. A similar thing kind of happens to me in my game, but it turns out differently. One nice thing in Lawrence is he's found a use for this artillery. Maybe not now, but pretty soon he's going to try to take over the city and keep this city. Well, he might not be able to get it, but he'll be able to deny it from Incuggarch. And Incuggarch is delayed for for challenging this capture. He delayed his own captures, and it might be taking him a little longer to get these captures as well. Lawrence has already started on them. However, there's a big problem. This tank is completely unanswered and is going to get a free shot off on this infantry, basically delaying the cap of this airport for a long time. Ideally, Lawrence would love to trap this tank somewhere and destroy it, but I think Incuggarch just has too many reinforcements here. He's going to be able to protect this. And he just wipes out a ton of infantry. So as far as income goes, Incuggarch is ahead a lot. He managed to snag the city, and he's also denied this city. Or I guess I'm not really sure who should have these cities, but he managed to get one and deny the other one, his opponent. And that's it. Resignation. I don't think he was incredibly behind on material, but I don't think he was going to get this income back very easily. Being down 3,000 at this kind of income level is pretty devastating long term. I think around this time Lawrence quit a lot of his games, so it could have been something else going on in his life or just got frustrated. But you can definitely see that it's not exactly fair him having to open up artillery first and playing two artillery against a tank and artillery just kind of changes the game dramatically. And so I don't think that this map is perfect as far as income curve goes. So I'll go into my game. I also get the advantage of going first. That means I'll have an extra infantry, and also the funding curve helps me out a little bit too, but it's not quite as impactful in my game as it is in Incuggarch's game. So it's basically the same. Start. He's going down here to capture this port. Now, Incuggarch sent his infantry right here to interrupt the port capture. If I do something different. Oh yeah, well, I don't actually lose out on income this turn. Instead of capturing and then doing this chain, I basically speed up the capture of this city and compensate by capturing the city right after. And I think I do this to, I don't actually lose income. It's a little bit complicated how this works. But it's basically accelerated capture. And I want to finish this capture by the time he's finished capturing this. Oh yeah, and I build this recon here. Now why do I do that? I think I could have built a tank. No, no, I couldn't have built a tank. So, Amagachi has the same choices before. You could either just buy an artillery this turn and next turn, or you could buy a tank this turn and buy nothing next turn. I believe that's what he chooses to do. Yeah. Okay. It looks like he's going to capture this. And also, I guess it should be noted, I don't go up here directly for that port. I go over here to, looks like I'm going to try to get this a little bit faster than he did. Move up there, capture there. All right, well, I guess it's fairly obvious. Move this recon up here to deny this city from here. He would like to chain these, but chain this capture. I don't think it really is terrible for him. He could just move his infantry this way and start capturing this, and it really won't lose him like a tremendous that much money in the long run. And so I kind of do what Incuggarch does down here with the infantry moving right here, but it's a bit later. It's not going to be in time to actually interrupt this. But because I have 3 units um, pressuring this square, it might be a little difficult if he captures. If he captures, then I'll be able to hit with the recon next turn along with an infantry. I would be guaranteed to kill with a comm tower. And then right after that, I'd move an infantry over place to try to capture it again from him. And he knows that. He's a very good player. I'll show his profile right here while I'm at it. 68 wins and 5 losses. And a lot of his losses I've looked into are early resignations. I think he turned day 5, resigned. Well, this might have been actually a loss. This one, which ones do you lose? We lost this one. We lost this one. Some early resignations. We lost this one. So I don't really consider those like real losses. I'd consider him kind of a dark horse of this tournament in that he's, for having a low rating and not very much tournament experience, apparently he's doing pretty well. He beat Lord Clefairy, um, and pretty convincingly. Lord Clefairy had some very nice things to say about him. Anyhow, back to the game. So yeah, he moves it back because he knows I could destroy that infantry and place another infantry and threaten to capture right after. I looked at a lot of different lines for this, and I personally think it was actually better for him to just fight for this port. I'm not sure if I actually convincingly win that in the long run. We'll both be kind of pumping out tanks and artillery to try to get like hold of this city. Um, but that would delay me a lot on these captures here, just as much as it would uh, delay his capture of this, or maybe even that. So I think if I were him, I think I would have considered actually just capturing that and not moving this infantry away. He loses a lot of infantry, not a lot of infantry, a lot of loses a lot of funds by wasting the time to try to capture this, only to run away. There's several turns of funds that he misses out on that. But I'm happy about it. Now notice I've invested in 2 recons, and that is a little risky in itself, since tanks are great, and just one tank can wipe out these recons. But yeah, I think this recon has definitely paid it for itself uh, by getting him to be so afraid to capture that city, that port that he moved off. This recon I'm not so sure about, but he'll do some funny things. Like he would love to capture the city. I'll just pop right there. Hmm. I did move this infantry here to deny this cap. Um, Ideally, you'd probably want it right here so that you could capture this in most situations. But the nice thing about this going here is it actually doesn't really slow down the capture in the long run if it just makes a beeline towards this airport. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4 to get this airport. Um, Getting to the airport from like capturing this is like 1, 2, 3, capture it, 4, 5, 6 just to get this airport. It's like several other turns, so it's not a bad route to go this way in the long run. Um, that is an issue. See, without a tank of my own, his tank is just going to be able to deny my caps or delay them. And I don't really have an answer to that tank for a really long time. My answer to that tank is creating pressure elsewhere, down here and up here. So him not having a tank right now to really push off that recon is really annoying. And he traps this recon. Can't really move anywhere. He builds a tank. He's gonna try to kill that recon again. Oh yeah, and this is kind of important too. This is my extra infantry because of my since uh since I have extra infantry, I can basically use it in different ways, and I elect to use this infantry to forgo the comm tower capture and instead go for the city right here. And I think it pays off. Alright, I'm just going to sit on that city, and we'll delay this capture 1 turn just for being here, and another turn for being 2 turns here, and really hurt this infantry and any prospects it had of capturing things. you notice that instead of capturing this port, he moved his infantry this way, and for that reason, he's going to have a lot of strength here and really hold on to this city for a long time. All right, hits that infantry, destroys it. I'd say it's a good move. It's going to delay this cap right here. Pulls back because my tank is covering these infantry. So I'm like, okay, you can have this recon. I've just destroyed 2 of your infantry over here, and it's going to take a while for you to capture the city right here. In the meantime, he's pumping out tanks and not infantry because he wants to counteract my pressure here with tanks. So I've just delayed the capture of this and this for him for a really long time. The thing that he gets back from that, though, is this tank is going around completely unchallenged, just hitting my infantry. And then he gets this city too, and being able to hold on to it. He's also contesting this city here, and I'm threatening to delay that or capture this next turn with this infantry. Destroys my tank. Or sorry, my recon. You can see he's trying to capture this again. I don't really have a tank still contest this. And he can get a free hit off. But he can't delay this, because if he delays this, I can trap his tank with my infantry, and then I'll build copter, and I'll hit it next turn and basically destroy it. So that would not be a wise move. I get this city, so this should normally probably be his. Gets a free hit on this infantry. I threaten to capture this next turn, or attempt to capture this. I really want to keep this infantry here so that he doesn't get a chance to capture this city or this city. There's still like a massive infantry war that could happen right here at any time. So I want to take the initiative there. We're both kind of just building up tanks, try to maintain pressure on these cities. But it's a big issue for him because he's so low on infantry here. He's never going to be able to take them with if he just keeps building tanks. I think a small mistake. I probably could have had this infantry right here last turn, so I could threaten to take this with a different infantry. Trade some infantry down here. He's scared away from his tank down here. And this was, let's see. Oh yeah. So he delays his cap even more down here. And this really annoyed me because I attacked him with this, and there's a good chance that I was going to roll it down to 2. And if he was rolled down to 2, then I could attack him with 3 HP infantry from here, destroying this. And if that was the case, I could move this cheap guy 4 health infantry right here, try to capture with my full health, and move my tank right here to block here. I'd have basically like a line across, and he would only be able to hit my tank from 1 square here, and I would be guaranteed to have that city. But little rolls sometimes. I think it was like a 66% chance that I could kill with these 2 infantry, the 10 health and the 3 health. But once I saw like how low this roll was, I was like, no, it's not going to happen. I have to use this other infantry that I would love to block with over here to kill it. And this kind of starts a chain of events that really messes with everything. I get another recon here. I really like recons for these kinds of engagements. It gets to the front line immediately, and when it just gets to go ham on all these infantry, it's really nice. So I can block with this tank. He gets to choose basically. He can either kill off this infantry and attack this tank with 2 tanks, destroying them completely, or he can attack this tank and he can also hit this recon. So it goes for this one. See, if I had a 4 HP infantry right here, this would be impossible. And because he can destroy the tank, he can interrupt this capture. But at least my recon is free to do with whatever. And I've also denied this port from him. He's starting to build infantry over here, so he's going to start challenging these captures that I've held over him for a while. So because he can deny this capture, I'm like, wow, I need to send some tank support. So I'm having to remove a lot of my pressure over here and send them into the middle right here where he can attack them. But it is within 1 turn of my base right here. So I'll have faster reinforcements there. I'll have an advantage in the fight here in the long run. But since I'm just losing down here, I need to divert some of my tanks, and it's just not very pretty. I get to attack here. I really want to just take off some of the pressure here so I'm actually able to capture this eventually. But you know how he's fighting within 1 turn of my base right here, I'm having to fight within 1 turn of his base right here. So it kind of evens out. Do some damage. Join cap for this city. And I build a medium tank. The reason I build a medium tank is that he can destroy this tank with 2 tanks and block it with infantry so that I don't have a favorable engagement afterward. You can like attack from here, or you probably attack from here and here, destroying this and blocking off with infantry. Here, here, just making it really difficult for me to get any retaliation. But if I have this medium tank, I'm going to be able to force him to not have a great engagement against us anyways. In fact, I just realized he can't actually move the tank down here, so he would have to attack from here and here to destroy this tank, and that means I could hit him with this medium tank, which is next turn, which would just not really make it so worth it next turn, since the damage from the medium tank is just so good. This is a nice turn. And he ends up going for this tank. Even if he blocks us off, though, with this infantry, hitting this tank will be really nice. So, to this point, I probably should have talked about the CO matchup earlier. I was really considering going Sammy here because I knew the only options were probably Sammy, and well, Max was also an option. But I really liked artillery on this map. It's kind of ironic since I never build artillery during this whole match. But anyways, I really didn't want to play Olaf into Olaf. I, whenever you're kind of winning in the beginning versus another Olaf player in this mirror, they tend to get the power first. And when they get the power first, they have a lot of advantages. They get that 10% attack and defense first. They get to take down the opponent's units to 8 or down 2, which makes their counter damage much weaker. And also, the thing about getting your super first is that you're probably going to get your super second because you get to start working on your next superpower. It's a really big deal. Usually, I would say I tend to get my superpower second, which sucks. But since I've been using so many recons and basically sacrificing my recons and putting myself behind in material, I'd still end up getting my super first here, and it's by quite a lot. One of the problems with using recons, though, and getting them blown to bits, is I don't have enough tanks to really keep up the pressure, and I've been really kind of suffering from a lack of pressure on different tank pressure on different parts of the board in this match. But this is one of the nice things of sacrificing recons for economic advantage. I'm not so far behind because I've kept ahead in income for several turns. And I'm 4K ahead. I also build this copter here. This medium tank here, it's kind of the same thing as before. He can kill this tank, he could probably move infantry in the way, but this medium tank will either bust up burn a wall or just hit a tank so hard that, it'll be compensated for. And this copter up here, I plan to send it north, right here, and then because he's gonna, in 2 turns, try to attempt to capture this, but I, in 2 turns, can attempt to deny it. And it would take him 2 turns with an anti-air to protect it, so it's really inconvenient for him. I mean, to protect the city guaranteed, he'd probably have to build it anti-air this turn, and he's not going to have very much funds. But even if he does build an anti-air, I could probably send this battlecopter right into the middle, where it could do even worse damage potentially. and he just resigns. And I mean, his superpower would definitely hurt me a lot next turn, but I think he sees the writing on the wall. Having to build two artillery to counteract this medium tank is not ideal. I could just move away from it on the side into this area. I could probably take the center. I could probably start to capture this city right here or contest it. I'm considering building artillery, and it takes about 2 turns for this artillery to base lock this city. Sorry, this base. Um, I'm going to deny this city for a long time, and I'm going to get a lot of income from that. So yeah, it's a fun map. I do like mixed base in general, and it's interesting. In my map, it really did end up kind of going all over the place, where he's pressuring down here, attempting to take this city or hold it for as long as he can, and I managed to take the jump on him over here, sacrificing some recons, but um, taking some cities and delaying his captures. So yeah, if you got into this part, thanks for watching. I'll probably do other replay analysis and map analysis other times when I feel like it on some of my other games. If you have any high level games that you'd like me to cover as well, I can do that too. But for now, I don't think I'm going to do much low elo stuff. So yeah, take care.